Anyone notice that in superhero movies, there are different characters with different powers and abilities? But no matter how powerful they are individually, they need one another in order to save their world. I'd like to let you in on a secret. It's something that some of you may have already felt. This world is full of superheroes. Some of us in disguise. But what good is a superhero with superpowers if we remain invisible to each other and to the exact people we are here to help? It doesn't have to be this way. And with your help, I'd like to change that using one simple question. Who are you? Who are you? Not to be confused with who are you, but who are you? Let's give this a try. Turn to someone you do not know and ask them, who are you? For those that felt that question was normal, you're on the right track. You're fine. For those that felt that that was a little weird or atypical, that's because our culture is built around what? What are you? What do you do for a living? We tend to get responses like these. Imagine walking up to Superman for the first time and asking him what he does during his day job when he's Clark Kent. That would be silly, right? It's Superman. You see, your what is given to you, usually by a job, institution, or even a parent. And sometimes these titles can get in the way. You see, if we only focus on the what, it keeps us disconnected from ourselves and each other, or at best, connected at a surface level. And here is when we are most vulnerable, and our connections easily uprooted. Why do we leave our old communities in search of new ones? Why do we think of leaving our current jobs in search of new opportunities? Perhaps we are all in search of who we are. Who we are. You see, you are more than your what, and you are more than what you do for a living. You are more than what you do for a living. And as we discover our who, your gifts, your passions, your purpose, your creativity, your superpowers, we then understand that that is exactly how we shape our community and shape our world. So will you, with me, build a community where who you are is more valued than what you do for a living? In this community, resources, food, and space are shared, and large projects are built through collaboration for those that live in the community. The greatest resource is the value that you are adding to someone else's life. And neighborship is led by intention and not proximity. Face-to-face connection with others who are like you is physical and not digital. We will build this community together. And later, I'd like to show you what that could look like. But first, we must understand how we have strayed away from these ideas. I'd like to start by telling a story about little Daniel. There he is. You see, my who was all around me, sustained by my eagerness to learn and explore, and substantiated by my everyday experiences. But that exploratory model wouldn't last long, especially within the linearity of our education system. My affinity towards math and science helped to shape my what before I knew it. By senior year in high school, I was accepted into Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. Fast forward 4 years later, with my diploma in hand, I arrived here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, to be my what? To be my what? Something wasn't right, though. 2 years in, I was already feeling buyer's remorse. But why? I had a great job with great benefits at an amazing company. Maybe it was when I walked into that retirement party for someone that had served 40 years at their company. I knew it was 40 years because it was written in icing on the cake. I had to ask myself the question, could I work at this job or any job for 40 years? Now, I was born in 1985, so I'm a millennial. So I think you probably already know the answer to that. It was a no, right? I had a major realization. My what was the kryptonite to the superpowers I had yet to uncover. It carefully cloaked my gifts, passion, purpose, and creativity, the things that make me who I am. And so I ask you all, how do we lift the veil to regain and live from our inherent abilities? Well, I wouldn't be up here if I didn't have an answer to that. So I think a good way to start is to turn our what into who. So if our what is given to us, what about our who? You see, your who is uncovered, created, and discovered by you. Your who is uncovered, created, and discovered by you, sometimes by asking difficult questions. Let's take some commonly used whats and turn them into whos. We have a teacher here. And for those that don't know, my calculus teacher from high school is sitting in this audience and is a big reason that I'm up here today. So take this teacher. A teacher is no longer just a teacher. When she pushes against the education system and ensures that her students are actually learning and evolving. An artist is no longer just an artist when they open up the doors to a donation-based art studio to give disadvantaged children access to shared resources. A business major is no longer just a business major when they create software applications that connect people with resources that they need all around the world. And a banker is no longer just a banker when they provide small local businesses with funding that amplify and diversify local culture. And me, I moved here to be an engineer, and I still am, but I've discovered so much more about myself. And it's because of the community I'm in. In this community, I saw a need. And behind the walls of my company, I could barely see them. I could barely see what was needed. So I had to step out and explore. I had to step out and ask my big questions. Who am I? If I am not meant to be there, then where am I meant to be? And I'm meant to be here to create change for our community. So, the need I saw were people that didn't have access to housing. They didn't have access to homes. They couldn't walk into a bank and get bank financing. So I decided to start a company where I could buy their home for them, and then they could move in. That is discovering your superpower. Can you feel the difference? By going beyond our what, we discover who we are and get tuned in to the abilities that we have within us. But why? Why should you? Well, here's 3 reasons. The world needs you to be who you are, not just what you are. Reason 2, we cannot shape the world alone. I cannot shape the world alone. But as you discover who you are, you will be attracted to other people that will support you, your team, or as I like to call it, my tribe. And trust me, they need you as well. And finally, this is what you're here for. This is what you're here for. To grow and evolve into someone this world has never seen before. And to acknowledge that inside each of us is a gift, an idea, a dream, and a way of living that is our truth. And so now, you are ready. You are ready to shape your world and shape your community. I'd like to show you, with your permission, some ways in which we're reshaping this community. We are taking existing single-family homes and restructuring them to be self-sustainable, self-reliable, and self-containing. These homes are built around 6 principles. Collaboration, because we cannot build things on our own. And I would like for anyone who would like to step behind their walls to find someone to collaborate with. It's built based on change. We know that change is going to happen. We might as well start to expect it. And we might as well start to build to accommodate it. Well-being. Everyone's well-being is important. If my well-being exists, then I can use that to create well-being for another human being. Sharing. Sharing is the most important part of this. We're seeing that the world is no longer living by ownership principles. People are using their cars to take strangers on rides. People are using their homes to house strangers that are visiting their city. That is amazing. We can capitalize on that. Empowerment. Empowerment is the reason that I can speak to you today, because I arrived in Iowa empowered, and I will continue to do so, both for myself and for those around me. And sustainability. How do we sustain ourselves? How do we sustain our dreams? How do we sustain our ideas? It's time to start to reinvent what that means. It's time to utilize other people as resources, as skill sets, as helping hands to build something that we cannot individually. That is what I call sustainability. This community will be built and funded by us because we can. Why do it? Because we can. Why do it? Because we can. Why do it? Because we can. Can we? I think so, yeah. So crowdfunding, donors, fundraising are all options for sustainability. So now, I leave you with the ability to find out who you are. I leave you with the ability to find your tribe, and I leave you with the ability to shape your world and shape your community. Thank you.